Greetings, comrades, and welcome to the Rad Gaming Podcast. I'm Jemshi.
And I'm Pescador. And in this episode of the podcast, we interview RedSeal, the creator of Twitch Easy Tweets and an extremely creative content creator on Twitch. In this episode, we discuss a wide array of topics, such as how creativity can really separate yourself from other streamers, why certain posts on social media can affect your streaming career, and do people really watch new movie trailers?
This episode of the Rad Gaming Podcast is sponsored by Cento Fiore. Cento Fiore is a lifestyle fashion brand that sees beauty and cultural heritage and always strives to offer timeless and elegant style. Visit cento-fiore.com to join the family. That's cento-fiori.com. So fasten your seatbelts, because RedSeal is about to take the wheel. Well, hey man, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so just tell us a little bit about yourself. Kind of what got you started on Twitch? Just give us that storyline.
Well, I started watching Twitch for the longest time, and I was like the biggest lurker. I didn't even pay attention to chat, right? Like I would close it out and I just immerse myself in streamers. And it was probably like 3 years or something that I was watching. And then I was like, you know what? I want to kind of do this. And at the time I had like some like real crappy like Orbit like webcam that was like 280p or like whatever. And and so I was like, yeah, let's just give it a shot. And so I started streaming. It was probably about in like 2014. I gave it a shot and it was kind of fun. SimCity had just came out, like the newest one, and I had 36 viewers and I was like, yeah. And then I left and then I had a kid and I was like, you know what? I can't stream anymore. So like I gave it up for like 4 years. And
wow.
Then I decided we moved to New York. And I was in a basement all day. I was working from home in a basement. I was like, well, I want to get a green screen anyways for work so that they don't see the nasty basement behind me. And I was like, why not just see if I get my shot and Twitch it like again, streaming. And I was like, but this time I promised myself I was going to take it seriously. And it's actually turned out really fun. And I don't do the whole worry about numbers and I just have fun with it. And it's been a blast. I've been doing it now like regularly, officially, I guess, about 2.5 years.
Wow, that's awesome. So you work from home and you also stream on Twitch?
So I used to work from home.
Okay.
Now, so yeah, I was basically in that basement for like probably, I kid you not, 18 hours a day. And
yeah, because it sounds like you'd be in the basement working and then all of a sudden you'd like shift gears and you're still in the same desk.
It was just a turn. And I was like, okay, now I'm streaming. So
Did you ever stream while you worked?
No. I've never.
Oh man, I would have been tempted. I would have
Promise
been
your employers aren't listening.
Yeah.
No, so here's the thing. I actually have people from my team and even my boss watches me sometimes. So like they would get notifications if I went live.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't even sneak that in, like it was
no lunch break, quick streams, none of that.
Yeah. Do a real quick hour stream real quick while I'm on lunch. So.
You said you were watching people on Twitch for a while. What kind of streamers were you watching? Were they comical
at that time? Yeah. So Lyric, of course, was a huge person that I used to watch all the time. It just opened my eyes to the world of streaming, and I think I've always enjoyed watching people play games. So Twitch was so easy for me to transfer into because like in college I had roommates that were really good at Madden, and I was horrible at Madden. But I loved watching it because it's kind of neat. So like I would just sit there and watch them play. I was like, hey guys, you guys want to play? Because I kind of want to watch you play. And so they were like, man, you're kind of weird. Now there's a whole platform built off of that. So it was kind of cool. But Lyric and then I started like dabbling right around the time where I thought I could stream. Before kids and all that, I started like getting into like the whole Smite esports teams.
Yeah.
And I actually became a manager of this small little team that we were trying to get into the esports with. And so at that time I was watching like Glasses, who was huge in the Smite games back then. And he went pro for a little bit. Now he's just kind of like a variety streamer. And then we had some like Carnage was another one that I would watch all the time. So it was people at that caliber who had been doing it for a while and had the chops. So
were you watching these and getting like ideas from Smite? Like were you playing yourself, or was it just something you're just sitting back watching, analyzing, and then trying to like master Smite, like manage that team through that knowledge?
At the time, I was actually just enjoying Twitch, and I guess I was kind of like taking personal notes in the background, because there's a lot of things that I do now that kind of leans on that knowledge that I gained back then. It was whether it was how like Lyric talks to an audience, or how he constantly has to keep talking because he has no face to keep people interested in. With just like when we stream with the camera, we can just kind of go, and people understand something. They're getting communication that way. But whenever you don't have a camera, the only communication is your voice. So like him constantly like picking up stuff like that. The Smite part is I was actually like, we were playing, we got approached by some other dudes that were like trying to put together a team as an esports team. It wasn't actually funded or anything. But we would compete against those other players that became like huge pros in it at the time. And that was just kind of like another side thing. And I became like the old man. So I was like, screw it, I'm going to be like a manager for you guys. But it turned out that it's like when you manage an esports team, especially that's not like fully funded and or like organized well, it's like herding cats. I don't know if you've ever done that before, but it's impossible.
I have not.
It's impossible. And that's exactly what it was. It's like kids not showing up on time for practice. Some people not coming, like 8 in the morning, like tournament, and you have 2 people missing. And I'm like, dude, I'm getting too old. I was only like 31, 32 at the time. I was like, I'm getting too old for this. So,
were they just not taking it seriously? Like,
yeah.
You think that a lot of people would love to just be a part of an esports team, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like
I mean, we didn't have like the gaming house or like big sponsors or anything like that, but we were a team and we were trying to get somewhere, and we were going against other big named people that were on teams. You know, it was fun.
Did you strap on the boots? Did you start playing? Like, because what do you do in that situation when someone doesn't show up?
I mean, I was ready to go, but like there was times where like even if I filled in, we still were a man short. So like there was a couple of times where we had to drop out of the tournament because of it, and then guarantee the next practice they heard it. I was like, dude, like multiple people got up in the morning. I don't care what time zone it is. You came and you said you were going to be there and you didn't, and it just got to the point where I was like, I got to hang my hat up. I can't deal with this. I mean, I got a kid now. I'm not sleeping anyways. And now you guys are just like driving me bonkers. I can't deal with you kids and my real kid. So I had to finally just like, I'm done.
So you're immersed in the gaming world from the very beginning. What games did you enjoy playing?
At the time, it was the MOBAs, man. Like it was Smite, like day in and day out. And then I slowly got like, PUBG came out, and that was pretty cool. And but then like I stopped liking BRs. I was like, I can't take this anymore. And the gaming industry kept just shoving it down our throats.
Yeah.
Kind of still are. But so I started, since I like became serious with streaming, I realized that the shooters was not the way I wanted to go. It was oversaturated. I wanted to grow, but I also couldn't do that day in and day out. So I always need some type of change. That's just my personality. Even if I play a story game for a long time, I sometimes will throw in a mix just because I need that change. And so I kind of shifted over to story type games, simulators, a lot of the Telltale stuff. I did almost their entire library. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now, like all over the place.
Yeah, I saw you a while back, or a couple days ago, actually, you were playing Red Dead. Red Dead's a fantastic story, and I saw you wore a cowboy hat and a little bit of the attire. You want to walk us through your idea behind that and why you decided to put on the ensemble?
So a little bit like, I mean, I like to have fun like that. So I do some crazy scenes, and I like to sometimes dress up whenever like I feel it's appropriate. Like Sea of Thieves, when it first launched.
Yeah,
I went and bought it like a pirate costume, and that's how I streamed it.
Are we talking Captain Jack Sparrow costume, or what are we talking? Just straight pirate?
Honestly, it looked like I was like in a biker gang, and I was like one of like the people they kicked out. But like, but it was it had the eye patch, and I'm like trying to just be funny with it because like I try to just entertain in any way possible. But maybe it's not skill, but it'll be like conversation, or maybe something goofy that I do on camera, or a funny scene. So
So I've seen that you've played around with a lot of like green screen kind of tricks and scenes and stuff like that. So is that what your main kind of focus is right now? Or are you trying to figure out the entertainment aspect?
Yeah, so like that's really fun to me. I enjoy it a lot. Like always, like I'm driving down this, especially now that I'm commuting for work again. I have a lot of time to think about just like something just pops up in my head. And this, for instance, I was driving and I was thinking about every time our kids start screaming behind us. You know how you sometimes like you like turn around, you're like, shut up, you know, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, man, they're backseat, like they're backseat driving. But what's a common thing done in like the gaming world? Backseat gaming. So
right, they tell you how to game.
Yeah, so I flipped that idea and I was like, you know what? I'm going to find a car and like be able to cut out the seat, put me in it, then put the seat like a layered process, right?
Yeah.
And then get a video of like someone driving down the street. I put all that together and I turned it into like me driving like a minivan, looking back, it's like, you're going to backseat game? I'll turn this thing around, you know, like stuff like that. And it was a big hit. It was funny and people, you know, it was a nice
I saw
way
that
of saying,
clip got a ton of views.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's why I keep it pinned. But it was fun and it was an easy way to like kind of say, hey, let me play. And it was more of a fun way of doing it instead of just getting all mad at somebody.
Yeah.
And it's kind of turned into more of like a joke now, but it's like, dude, you're right. Like the production of like being able to put things like that together. Yeah, I can spend hours doing it.
So where'd you
Is that
get all
something
this?
that you've always done, or is that something that you're kind of figuring out now as you're a Twitch streamer?
When I got the green screen, that was my whole goal. You know, like, and that's heavily inspired by like people like Dr. Disrespect with the crazy scenes that he does and stuff. I kind of was like, you know, that's funny. That's cool. It adds a little bit different. You know, you can go to anybody's stream and they could be playing Fortnite, right? But who's streaming playing Fortnite in like a tower that they built, or walking through like a locker room acting like you're part of the crew, you know? Stuff like that is kind of like, I was like, man, this is nice. Like I want to start doing stuff like that. So that was the whole idea from the green screen from the get-go. Start trying to figure out ways of doing scenes like that.
So are you just self-taught, watching YouTube videos, tutorials, and
so the way OBS scenes work in my mind is you know, I have a lot of Photoshop experience. So like I've spent many years, whether it was in like Photoshop or Flash, all the layering type stuff. So like if you need something built in Photoshop, I learned from you first got to put your background, then you need to put this, and then if you want something on top of that, you got to put, you know, like cut it out and do it that way. Right. And that's the same type of stuff I'm using to apply in OBS.
So you never started out with a green screen. What did you start doing? How do you start crewing these things? What made you get what made you decide to get a green screen? What made you decide to get your gear? And what did you start out with? You said the little mini crappy camera you said that started out with the streaming. So
yeah, so that was all like whenever I was just dabbling. I had what my computer was, a headset with a mic on it, and the little Logitech Orbit camera.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was just trying to make cool boxes for the camera, right? Like SimCity, I made it like look like a billboard sign, but then my camera was in it type thing. I always tried to make it like game related, and then when I stopped, I did through those years of not actually streaming, I was always watching Twitch, and then I realized like if I'm going to be serious about it, I want to come out the gates the right way. So like the green screen was purchased, all the scenes were set up before I actually went like hardcore. But other than that, it was like it was my computer, the green screen, and that's like there was no special like mics or anything like that. I just started like that, and then slowly I progressed and started like upgrading to like voice meter. Then I upgraded to like a mixer, and then I've upgraded mics like 3 times. So it's a slow progress now.
So you started visually, then went to audio. Would you do it the same way again, knowing what you know now?
I think audio is a lot more important than visual. Anytime you go into somewhere and you hear like a lot of static, or maybe it just doesn't sound clear, it's a very big turnoff. Personally, that's how I feel. visually, that can always get better. I've seen a lot of people streaming like really low bit rate. It was all pixelated, but they sounded great and people were actually staying. So I'd probably focus maybe on audio first and then visual.
So also just making sure that you're entertaining, I guess, too, because your audio can be great, but if you're not, entertaining.
So walk us through your transformation, I guess you could say. So you got all these upgrades. Did you start pulling in the viewers from what you were doing, what you were saying, your visuals, your games that you're playing?
So some viewers actually come in from like the tweet that you guys have seen, the Backseat Gaming tweet. So I get a lot of people that come in and is like, yo, that tweet is hilarious. I saw that. I had to come in and see it for myself. And then, of course, I'm like, well, turn this around. You know, I pull it out for them.
Yeah, you have to.
But, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, don't tell me what you saw on Twitter. But no, it was actually communities, man. Communities have been huge for my growth. Like just personally growth and then actually like channel growth. Like I've met so many people from other communities, and I was actually like diving into a community for another streamer, and there were so many great people. And plus I was learning a lot from that streamer, and I was just being one of them, you know, like I wasn't out there trying to promote myself or anything. I was just learning and taking in the real relationships that were being created there. And so like basically like a byproduct of that, people started like, oh, you stream too? You know, because you're in their Discord and then it shows that you're streaming, or maybe somebody just stumbles across and then they're like, they share it with the rest of the community. And then it slowly started building up from there. And so that's kind of like, that's been a huge growth factor for me.
So was
communities
joining a community like something you did intentionally, or was this something that you just kind of did and figured out? Like, you know, did you not really know what you were getting into and it just worked out for you?
Yeah, so it was more of like I didn't expect anything from it. I just joined it's weird. I didn't like say, okay, click enter right now to join this community. No, it was just I showed up every day at that stream. Every day I was watching it, and you start to find out the same people come into those chats, and you start becoming friends with them, chit-chatting with them while the streamer's streaming.
Yeah.
Before that, I did try to do like the whole stream teams. You know, some of the stream teams that accept everybody in.
Are they a little oversaturated?
Yeah. A bad thing is, it's like if they accept everybody in, so where's the networking happening? Where's the real relationships happening? You know,
you're still pulling all the work. You think?
Yeah. So, but then once I joined like a community that was surrounding this streamer, it became like, and that community is a big reflection of the streamer. And I've always said that too. It's like your community that surrounds you is a reflection of you yourself. So the fact that there's so many nice and kind and loyal viewers in his community, I got the same type of people coming over and seeing me now.
Gotcha. All right, so I see that you also are the creator of Twitch Easy Tweet. Do you want to go ahead and explain what that is?
All right. So this is one of those for us, by us type tools, and it was actually an idea that I had. I got tired of just always posting the same thing. Oh, I'm live now, URL, right? And we see it everywhere. Mm-hmm. Maybe add a couple of hashtags behind it or a couple of retweet accounts, but it was always like, I'm live. Click on this link. And to me, that's not appealing. Like, you know, whenever, like I'm a web developer, so like we would always talk about, you have 3 different types of people that browse the internet. You have ones that are like, they really pay attention to pictures. You have the other ones that pay all of their attention to text, like what you're actually trying to say. And then you have the other ones that are just looking for a button, right? So if you're doing a tweet and all it is just text, you're killing 2 of those people, right? So I was like, why not do that and immediately grab thumbnail, which Twitch already provides through their API, and put it all together in one. So they don't have to worry about going and screenshotting real quick and editing it up. It's real quick, boom, hit the tweet button, you can format your message, and there's your new going live tweet.
It's pretty awesome, man. So what is your hobby outside of streaming?
Is there anything outside of streaming?
I don't know. That's what that's what I'm hoping to get from you.
Are you an IRL streamer? Everything's on stream?
Yeah. No, I'm not an IRL streamer. My wife would like leave me.
That's content, though. No,
it is, right. Lost a wife and kids, but hey, got that partnership. But no, like it's hard to say hobbies. Like, I mean, the time that you would think you would spend on a hobby, I'm doing it thinking of the next scene or thinking of the next funny thing to do. If there's anything not streaming, I'm either a dad, I'm either a husband, or I'm at work, right? I just now picked up a hobby that I've had of mine, which is playing softball now. And it's a men's league where I can at least get out there and say that I've actually saw the sun today. And I was actually I did some type of exercise of running around bases. So
right, you don't want to be at a desk all day. Yeah. Come home to another desk.
That's right. That was the whole reason of getting the stand-up desk. You're putting in like 8 hours at work, like sitting down.
Yeah.
And then you come home and you want to game or stream and sit down again. No way, man.
How long have you had the standing desk? Because I know that those are. I'm interested also. So this is for me personally.
Work started having us have our own for like the past 2 years now. 2.5 years. We've actually, like, everybody in the company has it. And it's all adjustable. You can put it however you want. Then I noticed I wasn't using it as often because at work I'm just like, I just want to chill, focus on some code. And like, sometimes when you're standing, you can't really chill. Yeah. So I was like, I don't want to be sitting at home, like at work all day and then at home. So whenever we moved back here to Texas, I was able to get a kit and I put a top on it and I built my streaming station on a stand-up desk that is automated. So that
that's awesome.
And I try to start every stream at least standing. So that allows me to like loosen up a little bit, maybe do some goofy dances and stuff and then get rolling. And then like about halfway through the stream, I'll hit like the button to bring it down and I'll sit back and relax the rest of the way.
Is that like something that you felt was hard to get into at first? Because I know that I had the same thing where I worked at a company, they had just all desk and then they implemented the standing desk. And it was so hard to get used to standing because like I would try to come into work and stand at the desk and I could only do it for maybe like 5-10 minutes and I had to sit down and I was like exhausted for hours. I was like, I can't believe I can't stand for 5-10 minutes.
It's a totally different thing, right? Like, and whenever they first implemented it in our place, you either stood or you sat. There was no like half a day of that. Like they hired people to come in and brace your desk and it was always that way.
Oh, wow.
So then you're like, oh, crap, I got to go 8 hours like this? Like,
how many people had their desk like that? I want to know because that's insane.
It was small percentage. And you had to put in effort to like last that long. And it was almost like a conditioning type thing, right? And then finally, whenever we moved offices, they actually got a little bit more smarter. And they were like, you know what? We're going to get the ones where you can decide whenever you want. And, like you just raise it up, slide your chair underneath and you stand for a little bit. Some of us have these like I have a mat that I'm standing on right now, one of those like kitchen endurance mats type thing.
Right.
So I can like be way over here and I'm still on it. That helps you a lot. But like that way you can like slowly condition yourself into doing long periods of time standing.
Do you have the crank kind or do you have the actual like motor kind that zips right up?
Like it's there it goes,
Yeah, it's nice. So, I had the crank kind at work, sitting there just it like takes me a while to get up there.
Working the guns, right? Like you're sitting, like.
I'll tell you what, man, it's not fun when you start sweating in the middle of work. There's no stopping that.
You bring a towel with you, and it's like, damn, like.
Yeah, I'm looking at I'm in a meeting and stuff. They're like, "Did you just run to this meeting?" I'm like, "No, I cranked up my desk. It took me forever, You
gotta tell them I'm like thinking I'm preparing for this meeting. I'm just mentally exhausted right now.
Where do you find the time, man? I mean, like you just said yourself. I mean, you're a father, you're a husband. You're in these communities. You design things for your green screens. You still stream. Like, how do you find the time?
I don't sleep. I average about 4 to 5 hours a night.
Me too, man. Me too. Yeah. Jemshi, he's a heavier sleeper, but. He gets stuff done.
I think I'm smarter about just getting my 8 hours every night.
Well, you are smarter because I'm feeling it, man. Like I've reached the time where I'm like, this is for the birds. Like it's tough now. Like seriously, like the kids wake up at 7 a.m. They're ready to rock and roll, and I just went to bed at like 3. And it's like you just do it. And sometimes you're the lazy dad that's like sleeping on the couch, but
So that's why my dad was nap.
But yeah, I mean, it's sometimes I ask myself, like, when the hell am I going to be able to do this? Like, and that's one of the reasons why I actually don't have a day like back-to-back schedule, is because the days off allows me to like recoup, focus on the things that I need to do that maybe aren't streaming, and just sometimes just to have my me time.
So what obstacles did you face starting out? I mean, you said that you had a kid and you kind of stopped streaming for about 4 years. So what obstacles after that did you face that you really overcame?
I don't know if I've still overcome them or not. You know, a lot of it is applying the time that is needed and managing that and the expectations of your family. Like, that's a huge hurdle that anyone's going to have to do if you're married and have kids.
Yeah.
There's needs to be both you and the wife, both you and your significant other, whatever it may be, need to be on the same page as far as like, how serious am I about it? And I need to express that to them so that they actually understand. You know,
right? Because I can see that, you know, they're going to be they're used to you not being gone for, you know, an hour or two or however long you stream for a night. You know, they're expecting you to like, oh, you're around all the time, and then suddenly you can't be there.
Yeah, and it's like, no, honey, it's not me just playing video games. Like, you know, I'm actually streaming, and the second that I started thinking of streaming a little bit more than just playing video games, I needed to let her know so that she was on the same page. Whether it's like, you know, hey, when these lights are on, like, I'm live type thing, or whether it's like, you know, you understand now every other night I'm going to be streaming, we're not going to be hanging out type.
Is it still to the point that she's understanding, or does she think that you got through to her and she really understands this is something you seriously want to do?
So she totally knows that it's something I want to do. But there is times where you just like, you know what, I'm so tired of you talking about Twitch all the time. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, eat, sleep, and breathe in this. You know, and it's almost like you got to do that. You know, like if you want to be serious about it, like it has to become a passion. And the way I am, if something I have a passion about, it consumes me. So
I think a lot of people just kind of think that you just kind of show up, go live, shut it down, and you're done with it until the next time you go live. But there's a lot of stuff that people don't understand that happens behind the scenes. A lot of networking, like you suggested. Even going on social media and going out there, getting to know other new people. I mean, there's a lot to that. And then to make yourself relevant, I was told that you're supposed to put out enough content for, 100 tweets a day or something, or 100 pieces of information per day on social media, which is insane. I mean, I don't have the time for that, but I can understand where that would come into play. But I mean, did you ever suffer from like lack of getting your information out? I'm saying, like, social media, do you use it to your advantage? I know that you created the, Twitch Easy Tweets, but do you still use other means of social media to get yourself out there?
So I used to try and do like Twitter and Facebook. And I started realizing that I wasn't really bringing a lot of people in from Facebook. And whether it was just I wasn't able to target the right audience there, or it was just a bunch of friends just liking stuff but not really caring on going on to the actual channel when I'm live. So I actually shut that down, and I focus all of my social networking now on Twitter alone. And it's the only thing that I actually have time for. I know a lot of other people do like the Instagram, maybe even Snapchats. It's something that it's like I seriously can't dedicate I can't split my dedication out across all those platforms. So just focus on Twitter and hope for the best. I probably do suffer like from that because I can't give it its all like it deserves. Like, I think I was told one time where like streaming isn't even, the most part of that isn't even streaming. It's an 80-20. Like 80% of it is networking, whether that may be socializing in other people's Twitch chats or in their communities, Discords or whatever, or it's actually Twitter. Then 20% of it is actually what you're doing on your stream. And that's tough to do.
I always love that 80-20 ratio because I feel like that always comes into play with everything. Like, you could be like, okay, well then 80% of the, you know, networking that I try to do is probably going to be useless, but then that 20% is what you're really trying to go for. So the more you do, the larger that, you know, amounts to.
Yeah,
so I always apply that to a lot of things.
Yeah, and it makes sense, you know, like, I mean, I saw a lot of growth once I started focusing on Twitter.
Do you have any embarrassing moments on live stream? Now, you being a father and all, I'm sure there's, naked kid running around in the background or something, but anything interesting?
No, I've never had a naked kid come on the background. Like, granted, like, remember when I started being official, I was down in the basement, the unfinished basement. So like the kids rarely went down there. Honestly, the most embarrassing thing is probably going to be myself embarrassing from one of those streams where you just like, you have one of those good streams where a lot of people are like either tipping you or don't like cheering for you to take shots. And then the next thing you know, you've gone through an entire bottle of whiskey.
Oh, dang.
Oh.
And then you wake up the next morning and you're like half awake and you're like, well, we're going to delete that VOD. There's been a couple of times that was like that. But yeah, that would probably be my most embarrassing moments. It's like, I remember one.
Something you actually don't remember though, right?
Yeah, so I had to go back and remember it, right? And then
I'm sure that was fun.
That's embarrassing. So, when you're just like slurring everything, you take the bottle and you pull the like cork out, and you spit it across the stream, and you
that's like a pirate. That's awesome.
Yeah. And too bad it wasn't the pirates stream, right? That would have gone well.
Yeah, that actually would have went well.
Then you would have clipped that, put it on Twitter, end it.
The people would come in here and be like, do the bottle scene, and just like your car stream, you'd be like, I'll turn this thing around. Yeah, it's a great time. I saw someone actually fall asleep, I'm not even kidding, on live stream because they had too much to drink. And they couldn't turn off the stream, so they literally laid on the ground snoring while still streaming. So I don't know if it was that bad what you did, but that's
okay.
The next extent.
What? You actually just sparked some before like my second round of streaming happened. It was whenever I actually did pass out in my chair. And
no!
Minecraft or something. I can't even remember. And all of a sudden it was just like, and there was like probably a good 45 minutes to an hour of just me passed out. And then I woke up and probably turned it off. But that was like when you don't have anybody and you're just streaming just to be streaming.
Oh, well, that's fine then, I guess.
But yeah, I've done that. Damn, I forgot about that. Thank you.
Then you got to make it a challenge where you got to have like the donations. Like if you donate this amount, it makes a loud noise. See if I wake up. I've seen a ton of people are like, you know what? I'll just sleep and see if I can get some donations out of it. They'll do anything on stream at that point.
That's creative right there. You get to sleep. You catch up on your sleep, and you might actually get paid.
So, do you see anything new coming on the rise and any new technologies that have your attention right now in the gaming world? Maybe any new games?
New technology. Well, I just recently got the Go XLR, and I absolutely love that. As far as if we're talking hardware,
right?
Yeah. It's fantastic. No ad here. They're not paying me to say that shit. It is to me, it's exactly what I wanted. So,
can you explain it for those who probably don't know what it is?
All right, so Go XLR is basically it's a mixer, but it also has like voice effects, and it has like a sampler or like something that'll record real quick, and then you can play it back. So the biggest thing is I was in the market for a mixer, but I knew that I was going to want to do all the other stuff. So like if I wanted to thank you for that subscriber, something like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I knew I wanted it. But then I also thought, maybe somebody says something funny in chat, and I would be like, shut up, AK. That's my mod, because he always, talks shit. So I'm like, shut up, AK. Stuff like that. That's the type of stuff that GoXLR brought to the table for me. And it's all in one. So I was like, instead of getting, 4 pieces, I can just get this one device. And it's actually done so far so good. It's hit every need that I've needed, so.
Have you always been an audio guy, or is that something that you learned through Twitch, starting out?
Learned, dude. Actually, I had a cousin of mine who he used to be on Twitch a lot more. He couldn't make all of my streams because they were so late. So he would actually watch the VOD the next day, and he'd start sending me text messages like, "Your audio sounds like shit. I hear this. I hear fuzzy in the background. I hear that." And so I was like, it made me paranoid. So then I'd start that day as I was working from home. I would spend a lot of the time recording myself and then going back and making tweaks and then recording myself, and it spent like mind numbing hours to try and get my audio just right, because he would say you kind of sound grabby, you need to take this hum in the background, or I hear static. And so that's slowly, after I started streaming, I turned into like almost like I don't know what they call it, like an
audio technician.
I guess. I mean, I guess I could.
The audio guy. That's what they always say. They just the sound guy.
I started showing a lot of more appreciation to the audio.
So over time, you started to grow your channel. What was your, I guess, pinnacle moment? What was your deciding factor, you feel? What made you so much better than what you used to be? Like, you got more people in. What did you in?
Let's see. I think the creativity, like, I knew that I couldn't bring people in on game skill alone, right? I think that I'm very mediocre in playing any type of game it is, whether it's like I'm too dumb to play something, or I'm just don't have the twitch factor in the shooters anymore that I used to back whenever I played 12 hours a day and that's all I did. So I needed something else that would grasp people. And that's whenever I started doing the fun scenes. Maybe it's some of the gimmicks that you see, like spin the wheel, whenever you spend a certain amount of like loyalty, currency, and then introducing small little pieces like that to the stream that made it different. That's whenever I think people started like coming around and sticking around a little bit more.
Is that something that you're always working on? Is there always another scene or element that you're trying to add to your stream?
So I have a list like on my phone of like all these ideas that come up. And it's like, just like, I don't know if you guys have iPhones or not, but it's like, the regular reminders list or whatever. And I just add it. And then I'll come back later and I'll think about it. I was like, do I still feel like that? Do I still think that I should try and like put the effort in to do that? And if so, then I'll find the time on those off days to try and like dedicate a little bit of like art, like research and development towards it, right?
See what it takes to make that happen.
Yeah. So like, I had a wild idea to try and like be in a shower scene, right? Now, like, bear with me here. Like, so like I was in the verge of like trying to promote like a sponsor that I got hooked up with, which is I'm not going to plug them or anything, but it's like it's some type of body wash, right? So I was like, well, how could I sell this? Like I like this stuff, but like how can I like make it funny for the chat? So like I made a shower scene to where like I overlaid the curtain to where I could just stick my head out of the side and look like I'm sticking my head out of taking a shower.
Oh yeah.
So like I was like, hey, can you guys pass? Stuff like that. And it didn't really take off too well, but like, I at least had dedicated the time to it. And then that's just like one of the times where it's like that scene wasn't as funny as some of the others are, and that's okay.
But you learned, I assume, a lot of things about how to make a scene like that.
Yeah, I learned
that you're able to apply that to all your future scenes.
Exactly. Like, and like OBS, it keeps updating too, to where like it allows you to do a little bit more every time that you get an update. You see a long list of, we fixed this and this. Well, they didn't tell you that you can also like rotate your camera in OBS now, which you couldn't do a long time ago. Oh,
I don't think I actually knew that one.
I didn't actually know that. Yeah.
So like I don't know when they actually added it, but I was like, whenever I was doing the scene, I was like, I can rotate like 33 degrees if I wanted to,
so it's by angle now. It's not, or by angle instead of just like a hard 90.
Yeah, like it's not just hard 90s now. Like you can do anything you want now.
That's awesome. So you're the patch note reader, huh?
Not really, because they're like, you see a long list and you're like, okay, cool. But I'll skim it just to see if it's anything that picks me up. Like as far as like, okay, I was actually, I was upset that I couldn't do that. Now I can.
Tell you what, man, I can't. I see those notes. Doesn't matter what it is, unless it's something I'm super immersed in. Like I read maybe a little bit of the Fallout notes, probably the first like 4, and I'm like, all right, I'm done with this. Let's play, kind of thing.
You go more than four fingers, I'm done.
That's what it is.
You got to do the Control F. You got to look for the features that you like and see if anything's been added to it.
There you go.
I forget what it was. I think it was. I played the Forest back when they started just coming out with it. It was just an alpha stage, and there's some specific part. I think it was they didn't fix the water in the turtle shell. Like it didn't fill up or something like that. And I remember every time that they come out with a patch, I had like Control F, like water, turtle shell, water. Like I was looking through it, and I'm like, nope, not playing it. And that's the only time I ever read. Dude, the patch notes doesn't, like, if I don't know anything about the patch notes and no one says anything about the patch notes, I don't read the patch notes. And if I don't stumble upon it, I have no idea what the heck just happened. So
yeah,
I'm hoping, because like you just saying that right now, I had no idea. I would have known.
Yeah, it's. I mean, sometimes it just depends on the day, and if I got the time to actually read a long list of bug fixes and stuff,
Yeah. So
I
you
got
said
a couple of friends that actually do that,
yeah,
and they'll be like, "Hey, you guys see what the patch does?" I'm like, "No, give me the too long didn't read because I'm not going to read it." And then they'll be like, "Oh, well, this and this." I'm like, oh, "Okay, cool."
Set me up with this dude, man, because I need to know patch notes. I just tell him, listen, anytime there's a good patch note, like something really good, send it my way. I want to know about it.
Will do.
You said that you got immersed in communities. What did you specifically do to help you really get networking? I mean, really start forging friendships?
So it's weird. Like you think you have to go out and I saw a tweet today that somebody that I follow, and she nailed it on the head. You think you need to spend a lot of time trying to get people to notice you. And in turn, you actually need to just genuinely notice other people and create those relationships and really just take streaming totally out of the equation altogether. You want to learn about either the streamer that you're all watching, or you want to learn about the people that are there watching him just like you. And from that, you start to build the friendships. And then, like I said before, as a byproduct, you start to get noticed when people start to learn a little bit more about you. Whether it's like you were talking about some type of thing, you're like, oh yeah, that's fun, and then you explain something like, oh, well, do you stream? Yeah, every now and then. And then they check you out, and voila, you have another follower, or then, it just starts from there. But it's never going into it thinking, I need to make this person like me,
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing, because when you're focused on your channel, you just want to grow. I want to grow. What do I need to do to grow? And when it comes to communities, that needs to be your last thought.
So,
gotcha.
When you say that a lot of people just think about growing, do you think that that's the downfall of many smaller streamers? I wouldn't say smaller streamers, but a lot of streamers, when they first start out, they really just want to focus on themselves, and they want to pin themselves against other people and saying like, okay, well, that's my competition, when really it's not really a competition at all.
It isn't. And that's a hard thing to do, because, I mean, as humans, I think we're just competitive by nature, right? Like, we're jealous of, Stacy's mom's got it going on type thing, we're just that way. So whenever we're seeing each other and we're both maybe at the same follower level, you're like, oh, but why does he have that many people? That's going to take you out of the game quick. Another thing is a lot of people think that they're just going to be real quick success. I'm going to stream for a couple of months, boom, I'm hitting partner, and the next thing I know, Apex is paying me $1 million to play their game. It doesn't work like that.
For some people it does, which is
sad.
Well, pretty impressive.
Even that individual had to put in a lot of time and work.
Right, because Ninja has been grinding it out. Shroud has been around since I can't remember, almost 2010 maybe? I think he's been around for a while.
Something like that, yeah.
Even a thing.
Right. So what is your opinion on, I guess, collabing on Twitch? Like, do you think people need to do a lot more of that? Because I know some people think that they can build their audience by also kind of piggybacking on other people that they've, play with on stream or anything like that. So how do you feel that have you done, has that worked for you already? Kind of, what do you feel about that?
So collabing is a great idea. One thing is like this year, Twitch actually wants us to focus a lot on collabing. It was what whenever I went to TwitchCon last year, learned a ton of information. But one of the things that they wanted to make sure that we left that event was to know that they want us to work together, collaboration. And so there's a lot of things that can work there, but you have to be smart about it. Like, it's not just like sharing each other's communities and that, like, you have to really have some type of vibe with that person that you're going to collab with, or the people that you're going to collab with. Are they around the same level as you as far as like the size of the community and the amount of people that are watching them, like their average viewers? No one's going to want to like collab with you if they're like averaging 400 viewers a night and you're doing like 5. Like, how many other people are probably hitting them up saying the same type thing? So you want to kind of focus on people that are around the same size as you, but you also connect in some way. There's similarity some way, whether it's the personality or whether it's the games that they play, or it's a buddy of yours that you've just over the years grown to know, and you guys really jive really well when you play together.
Gotcha.
So, I guess my question I have for you is, Jemshi over there, he doesn't watch movie trailers. I watch movie trailers. I saw Avengers Endgame. That trailer was awesome.
Okay.
I guess I'm really biased. Do you watch movie trailers? Because I need to know this, man. We had a debate earlier today. Am I the weird one?
He didn't realize that some people just don't want to watch trailers before movies. I just enjoy like walking into a movie, not really knowing what it's about, and hoping to be blown away. Because I feel like that feeling of just like, wow, that was a great movie. I didn't realize it. And everyone else walks out like, yeah, I knew that. But like walking out knowing that like it was not knowing that it was going to be a great movie is something I really like.
I can respect that point of view there. I can. As far as me watching the movie trailers, it's hit or miss, man. Like you know how many times I've seen that movie trailer shared in like whether it's in Slack or Discord or whatever, and I still haven't been able to see it yet. Like it's probably been like at least 4 different spots, and it's whether I was too busy and I just couldn't click play or whatever, or what. Movie trailers to me are fine. Spoilers, that's whenever like that kind of chaps my hide a little bit,
Yeah, I feel like the trailers kind of sometimes spoil the movie. I know that they can sometimes give away a little too much. You're like, oh, I bet that's how the movie's going to end. Or,
why are they in that situation to begin with?
Yeah, it kind of gives a little too much away.
Turn off your mind, man. Just let it play out. Just don't be like, that's how it's going to end. That's how that guy's going to be. Maybe they should just come out with like fake trailers and be like, this might be in there, or it might not be. Maybe that's the next big thing.
Like different ending type trailers.
Yeah.
Right, you go to the movie and maybe this movie theater has one ending while the other one has another ending, and I feel like we have a pretty good movie idea going on here.
Did you see that Black Mirror episode? I don't know if you've ever watched Black Mirror. There's an episode of Black Mirror that apparently you can change the ending of it, and you can actually.
I played that. Well, watched it, played it.
Yeah, I don't know how to.
It's like called Bandersnatch, I believe.
Yep.
So you choose it's basically just interactive, and this is something new that Netflix has been doing because this isn't the first one that they've done. But this was actually really cool to where like you have to make choices really quickly on the remote, and what you did affected what happened, and they did it really well to where it looked seamless. Yeah. And but then if you made the wrong choice, you started all the way from the beginning. So what was like an hour and a half, it turned into like 2 hours, 2.5 hour long thing because we just couldn't get it right. So
the content was fantastic because you think about it, you go through the one way and you're like, should I? I'm going to do it again. And then you change like the whole thing. So you like, not only do you do an hour and a half of it, you like another hour and a half try to choose a different path. And it's just.
I know they used to do YouTube videos like that, where it used to be that the YouTube videos had like those 2 endings, and you could click on the link as to which one you'd go, and you'd go to like that like private playlist that it would you can only go to it if you have the link to the YouTube video.
Nice.
As opposed to it showing up in search, so you couldn't give away with the actual ending. I know Markiplier's done something like that. I think it was a date with Markiplier. I think it was like his Valentine's Day special or something like that.
Smart idea.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people go all out on those because they know it takes forever. Because you're like, okay, there's so many different alternate paths that you can go on, and suddenly you have to like, okay, I got to start cutting this branch short. I can't have too many things to film. But
Jemshi,
I think those are fun.
What happens if you walk into a movie that you think it's going to be all hunky dory and it's actually a scary movie? Your heart can't take that, man. I'm just saying, like,
I haven't actually had that. So the one thing with Pescador that's been trying to get me to do is watch a scary movie or play a horror game because I just cannot stand those. But that happened to a friend of mine because they were like watching a movie and they were like, oh, let's just pull this movie up, and they didn't know what they were watching. There's like, I think this has some good reviews. Let's just watch this one. And they sat there not knowing it was supposed to be a horror movie, and it's just like. And I think it was that her mom was just not ready for that kind of movie.
I can't take spoopy things, man.
So,
I watch a little bit of the scary movies, but like scary games, oh no.
Yeah, he
It
can't
feels
do
too
them.
real, I think, for me.
Yeah.
It depends on
like
what
you
game
start
you're
having like you can actually do something about it. Because the movie, you're just kind of like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen next, as opposed to like, how do I get out of here? Like that's the whole different ball game for me.
Not my cup of tea.
So do you watch Netflix? Are you a Netflix watcher? You watch TV?
Well, we don't. We cut the cord a while back, so like we do
Same.
all the streaming services, and a little bit of like downloads here and there of stuff.
So what would you recommend me watching? I've watched The Office like 4 or 5 times through. I've done that. I've watched The Punisher, which I'm sad that
tweet about that. Yeah.
I'm trying to find something, man.
Orange is the New Black.
I've watched 3 seasons
like
of it.
6
watched,
seasons.
man.
Like
Me?
6 seasons.
You talking to me, Jemshi? Oh man,
Well, I think 'cause
love
I don't watch like TV at
Netflix.
all. So anytime you like say I've watched more than like one show, I'm like, what?
I think that someone recommended me Sons of Anarchy, and I got real into it, but it was so dark that I had to break it up with The Office. Like it was just too dark for me at some points. Like I don't want to ruin it for anyone that hasn't seen it that wants to see it, but like there's a specific part that a main character unfortunately bites the bullet. I'm not gonna say which main character it is, but like I was like, seriously, like I don't know if I want to watch this anymore. He was like I liked him as a character. I was like, oh, it drives me insane. So I don't know. I just got to that point, and then the ending was like my brother-in-law hyped it so much, and he's like, it's the best ending I've ever seen. And then I get there, and I think I was just overhyped, and I saw it. I'm like, dude, I saw that coming. What? Is there something else? Like, am I missing something? And then the credits start rolling. I'm like,
that's it?
What? I was more blown away by Breaking Bad, man. I was so pumped for that.
Yeah, it was a good one too.
Oh, that was me when I went to see The Hobbit. Because, I don't really watch trailers. I didn't realize that The Hobbit was a part 1 movie. And I remember I was sitting there, and I was like, this has like been going on forever. I don't feel like they're going to get there at all. Like, this movie, like I was like, this is like a whole another 3 hours left of this movie.
That's a disappointing ending, man. Jeez, oh, man.
And I remember I walked out, I was like asking everyone I was with, like, did you know that was a part 1? They're like, you didn't know? And I was like, yeah, I guess I just figured it was going to wrap up. Like,
yeah. You expect there's a start and there's a finish. Like that, I was expecting for the finish,
Right, and I think that's the only downfall of not really watching trailers or like looking up anything before the movies. So.
Going in there just like, and then it just kind of doesn't end, and you're just like, what?
Yeah, I feel like I was like, oh, it's teased a little too much. Just like
that's it. Look like the confused John Travolta. You're like,
yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, you could probably make a couple of your own like GIFs or GIFs, whichever one you're on. I don't know if you say GIFs or GIFs.
Let's not get started, man.
Let's ask the real questions.
Yeah, that's one of the ones in the development department that gets people heated.
Yeah.
I honestly have no preference. I get whatever you're trying to say. Yeah. I was like, we can end this call right now. No. No, I think that'd be a fun thing you could probably implement. I know that a lot of people kind of put their own little Twitch spin. I guess if you have your own like GIFs or something, because you get your green screen, probably play around with that. Have like little emote things pop up for donations and stuff.
So yeah, I used to do a thing where whenever somebody donated or cheered a certain amount, like a threshold, I would actually sing a song to them, and there was 2 clones of me would pop up on each side of me and start dancing in the middle of the song. So like. It was actually pretty funny, and that kind of reminds me of it. It's like I had to record both sides.
Oh, I'm sure that was fun to witness live.
Yeah, my wife. I think she actually Snapchatted it to her friends, like, "This is RedSeal behind the scenes," and I'm like being all like I'm having to like choreograph basically dancing with this music 2 times, so I could like then put it next to me while I was actually live. It was fun.
You said that you not dislike, but you're kind of getting sick of the battle royale scenes.
Yeah.
So what's your go-to game right now? Like, what's your favorite games to play?
So right as for Christmas, I got a PlayStation 4, and my whole goal was to bring in tons of new content to the channel, because I've always been just PC. I had no other avenue other than PC games. So whenever I did that opened up so many doors. Spider-Man was huge.
That's a good game.
Loved the hell out of it. Then we have Red Dead Redemption. which I'm really enjoying. I need to get back into it. Like, I'm itching to get back into it.
So
Detroit Become Human was a huge one.
Oh, yeah.
Which I played twice, and I've never played a game twice on stream before. And that one I just had to, because there's, like, I think somebody said that there was like over 99 different endings.
Right.
That
There's
many?
like a crazy amount that, like, I don't know how much it changes. That's the one thing I haven't really figured out or looked into. Is like, how much do they vary, you know?
My first playthrough, somebody died and they weren't there whenever I needed them at the end. Second playthrough, I was able to keep them alive and they were there at the end, you know? So, like, there's stuff like that. And every scene builds on each other. So if you make one change in, like, really scene 7, you got to go all the way through to the end of the game to see the different outcome now.
That is, I love games just like that. I'm not gonna lie, I have a hard time keeping my integrity intact when I play Red Dead. I like run over people with horses. I don't know who, like, when do I? What's back?
They're keeping track of all that stuff, and they're probably selling that information.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Your inner GTA comes out and you're starting to play the game a little differently.
It's like the whole Westworld syndrome all over again.
But I heard that was really good. I've never seen Westworld.
Yes,
I got real into Game of Thrones, and then, like, shortly after Game of Thrones was a huge hit, came out with Westworld. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I heard that it's like 3 different time zones, or I guess from what I understand, what I gathered,
it gets confusing.
So I was told, and they said, but it's very interesting. It's kind of like Inception in a sense, because, like, you never know, like, at the time you don't know what, like, if it's present, past, or future. And they said that, like, it flips back and forth really fast between all of them. So
it does, and you don't truly know until later on, and then you're like, "Oh, that was a flashback all along." No, you know, like stuff like that. But it's cool, dude. You definitely.
Oh man, okay. I'll definitely take that down
because it's like if you're into Red Dead, that's real life Red Dead there. Like, people pay money to go onto this theme park and be whoever they want to be in a Western world.
I know. I really got to say, it's just an interesting. I love things with interesting concepts. I heard that what was that? Umbrella Academy. Everyone kept on saying Umbrella Academy is a fantastic game. Fantastic game. Jeez, oh man, fantastic show. I really want to see it. They said it's a fantastic concept, but I saw the trailer. It looked good. Sorry, I saw the trailer. It looks good.
At you as he's saying that.
I am. I don't know if you can tell, but I definitely was looking at you, Jemshi. I saw the trailer; it looked really good, so I do want to watch it. It's just the fact that my fiance she doesn't love the, like, kind of superhero kind of thing, because, like, it's so saturated in a sense too, kind of like Battle Royale is with gaming world right now. And I don't blame her. I mean, it's kind of saturated, but it's something I really like. But
it looks cool. I watched the Netflix trailer for it, and I was like, "Hey, you want to watch that?" She's like,
It's kind of funny because you looked right at Jemshi. You're like, "Hey, want to watch that?" It was pretty good. So at least on my screen it was, but it was good.
Nice.
But the last question I'd like to leave.
Actually, before you ask,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I have a really interesting one I want to ask.
Please do.
So I know that you're a developer at Match.com, so I'm wondering, because I see the hat.
Damn it.
Should I give that away?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh, well, I know that you're on a dating app website, whatever you're a developer for. I was curious as to what's the most interesting story that you hear, because I'm sure you hear a lot through that.
That's a good question. Dang.
So, well, I mean, there's some scary ones, and then there's some, like, funny ones. We actually just had one that came up today that I had to share with the team, and we got security, like, involved and stuff. Twitter is a really good go-to whenever you want to learn a little bit, like, at least learn the bad side of any type of product. Go to Twitter, because anyone who's enjoying a product doesn't go into Twitter to, like, rejoice about it. They're over there enjoying it, or they're in our case married, and they don't no longer
make a post on Facebook.
Yeah,
right. So, like, now it's like I came across somebody that there was actually an individual making threats to the other individual, like, bad threats, and it's like, dude, like, and it's a scary window that you can see into the dating world now, which I would not be able to survive in the dating world today.
I don't know how they do it
at all. 17 different apps probably that you have to, like, all swipe right on every time. No way. But let's see, other interesting stuff. It's a lot of it's in the chat, man. a lot of it is what users say to each other. And
I guess that's all you can really see through the development. You don't get to see what they happened on the date. You're not like chaperoning, like, all right, guys, let's see what happens.
No, but I will tell you the coolest thing to see is the wall of all the save the dates that we have in the office. And it's a lot of them because we have like 3 different floors. And like every like area, there's a designated area where like couples that have met on our site actually shoot us over. And to see something that rewarding that you're building for people is just, that's what fuels that passion to keep doing what you're doing. And that's really cool to do.
Do you have an estimate of how many? I'm sure that's...
Do they tear them down every so often and then put more up?
So a lot of them, it's like almost like favorites and stuff, but like we're bombarded with stuff like that all the time. But let's see, I have no idea on the stats, man. There's been so many match babies that now we're offering like I'm totally not trying to plug my company here. Now we're trying to like
go for it.
That's a do it, plug away.
Join Match today. No, I think there's been so many match babies now that we actually have it's called Match Made, and it's a what do you call it? A scholarship for kids that have been spawn of people that met on our site.
So there's like an incentive to meet somebody on Match now.
Yeah.
No.
Or have a baby. No. They just have to have a baby, Jemshi. They don't have to get married. Are you kidding me?
How it works?
Yeah, how does it work? Please explain.
Actually, I don't know if that's the rules or not. I'll have to get back to you.
I was just assuming.
But the scholarship's for the baby, not me. So I feel like, I guess I'm helping a lot of kids then, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, something like that. It's a wild ride. It definitely is. I love the fact that I can say I make love for a living, and you have the people like, wait, what is he talking about? Porn? What? No.
They're like, do you want to find out? Come to my website. And they're like, whoa! So do you get to see kind of like the, because I know they have a lot of like probably articles where they're like, what to do and what not to do. Do you really get to actually see any profiles on there, or like what people are doing, or do you just kind of only see like the highlights that people come through? Like, I guess when your AI probably picks up like, hey, this is probably something we should.
So that's not like in my department. Like we have like either whether it's like fraud or like customer care, like they probably have to deal with a lot more. Anytime that we're actually going into our production level and looking at people's accounts, it's because a specific user reported a bug, and we have to like maybe they're in like a very small edge case, and we have to actually just go in as them and see how it's functioning because we can't replicate it on our QA service.
Right.
So
yeah, I know that's like the worst thing because you always want to make sure that you're not like messing anything up, because that's the worst thing. Because like the last thing you want to hear is that, oh hey, so where's this person? He's blocked now? Did I get blocked? Like, or who am I talking to now?
And that's kind of happened. Like I think somebody complained about some person who was out of their age range contacting them, and they're like, I didn't sign up for a 70-year-old man to message me. So I think somebody actually went in there and just deleted it and was like, done. And probably not the best way to do that, but like. And then they're like, hey, someone just did it. Invasion of privacy. And I'm like, here we go. And this is all just reading Twitter, dude. Like it's like your morning, like,
oh,
news.
Man.
And it's part of your job too, because you got to make sure that you're like.
I do. I don't think a lot of people on my team do it, but like I'm a huge fan of like making our product, like making our users love our product, right? Like the more they like it, the more they'll stay on it type thing. Yeah. And I want to make it, even if it means like we're losing money. But like even if I'm bringing up like say, hey, this will really benefit our users, and sometimes it might lose us money, I'm still going to push for having our users have a better experience. That's why I don't make all the calls, because it's still a business at the end of the day.
Yeah, I actually know. I think at least two of my cousins went through Match, and they actually are married now. So they may be on your wall.
Not to each other, right?
No. Dang, Jemshi. Jeez. That took a turn for the worse. Two different people got married to two different people, Jemshi. Jeez, oh man. Can't believe I had to clarify.
I was like, that could be the most interesting Match story yet.
I'm sure he's seen worse. Anyway. Now I'm going to be, it's the bad news is at work, I'm going to be going through, instead of, actually putting out some productive tweets, I'm probably going to be scrolling through Match.com's, list on Twitter, just seeing, the different stories. I'm looking for
hashtags come up.
Some crazy stuff in there, man, for sure.
But I'd like to leave you with the last question, and we always ask everyone this because everyone has a different answer, and we absolutely love it.
Okay.
What is the one thing that you would tell aspiring streamers to do or not to do?
Can it be a multi-part?
Yeah, by all means.
All right. Do stick to a schedule if you can. Don't act like an asshat online. Plain and simple.
Can you give us an example of what an asshat would look like online?
Somebody that's making some tweets that you're going to regret later. Deleting it definitely does not actually save your butt from doing that.
No, people take pictures of that stuff and they put it right on the
don't
internet.
make tweets that you're probably going to delete later.
Yeah, that's a direct reflection of you. That's who you are online. And if you want to be an aspiring streamer, that's what people are going to see. And yeah, you might attract some people that dig that, but you also have to think long term. You don't ever want to have to eat your words later. And schedule, dude, it's the number one important thing. What do we all do for Netflix? Or what do we all, well, not Netflix, but what do we all do for Game of Thrones or with The Walking Dead?
Jemshi couldn't tell you because he didn't watch the trailer, so.
Well, I know that.
No,
you're
man.
trying to probably ask that you set time aside to
Yep.
Right?
do those things.
You plan your life around it.
Oh, man,
Same
he
thing
got
happens
it.
on Twitch, man. I mean, when you get big dog, you don't have to worry about it so much. You hit live, people just appear out of nowhere. Poof.
But you got to work your way to that point.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a long climb to the top, man. It really is.
I don't even focus on it anymore, man. I don't care.
Right. And I think the mountain's just getting taller and taller on Twitch.
Yeah,
so.
because everybody and their grandma actually streams. Literally, there's a German grandma that is partnered now who reads books to kids at night.
Oh, man.
And she's amazing.
That's awesome.
You got to.
I didn't even know that was a route you could take on Twitch.
She's speaking German or she's speaking English?
She's doing German. So she does it in her time zone.
And learn German.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch, you know?
Sprechen Sie Deutsch in my No, I'm actually really... man, it's the best way to learn, right?
Yeah,
be immersed in that.
Sometimes it's like a grandchild is with her, but it's full-fledged her reading books to the audience, and they love it.
Man, that's some food for thought before we get out of the podcast. Now I'm going to be like, what other kind of crazy things? 'Cause I didn't know that there's a grandma that reads, children's books in German on Twitch.
That's right. Yeah. And then, dude, there's so much now. What it used to be is nothing to what it is now and what is going to come in the future.
I can only imagine. But we just want to thank you for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, fellas. Appreciate it.
Thanks. This was fun.
And thank you for listening to this episode of the Rad Gaming Podcast. You can check out our guests by clicking the link in the description.
Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and rate and subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever else you listen to podcasts.
We release a new episode every Wednesday and Friday. And as always, stay rad, comrades.